Hello everyone. Happy Friday. Welcome to Storytime with me, DC. Hopefully you guys are doing amazing if you're watching from Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. Hello, good evening everyone. It is definitely a hot day here in Texas, so this heat wave I know is hitting every single person. So sending you blessings, stay hydrated, drink lots of water because we are slowly burning over here. So I hope everyone is doing amazing today. We're going to be doing a little bit of story time. So today is going to be the day we're going to be reading from Forbidden War. This is book 3 in my urban fantasy series, the Intern Diaries. And I keep going back and forth. Today I wanted to be like, what are we going to do? Do we do the beginning of the book? Do I introduce you to war? So 2 weeks ago when we were live, we were talking all about famine. And I realized I never got to introduce pestilence. Didn't get to introduce war. So I figured we should go back and kind of catch up everybody with that. So I'm going back and forth. But the beginning of this book is really fun. So I'm having issues, which one should I do? So we're probably going to do chapter 1. And if we have enough time, we'll go in there and do chapter 3, which is the beginning, the introduction to that horseman. So to give everybody a little catch up, it is going to be reading time. But we weren't together last week. I was in Savannah doing Literacy Love Savannah. So wanted to give a shout out to my girl, Chris Finner. So she is here on TikTok and Facebook. She's also an amazing author. And she gave me this cute little gift. Look at these. So for anybody who knows them, is obviously see no evil, hear no evil, say no evil. And because I write it death, Chris is like, how appropriate is that? So my little green reapers are on my desk. I love these little fellows. They're just super, super adorable. I have them also in little monkeys as well. So I have this saying all over my house. But the fact that they're in reaper form, I needed to share. So Chris, thank you, sweetie. I love them. So I just have them chill them over here. So they're on my desk for anybody. So cute little reminder, and they're a little reapers. So how perfect is that? So yes. So let me know. I am definitely going to be looking at comments on both screens to make sure I don't miss anything. Let me know how you guys are doing. Let me know if you guys have been reading any of the books. Which part do you like? So if you're new to my story time, which it's all fabulously good, check out my website. So right now, I think most of my bios, you can find the link. I have a free short story for anybody who wants to know what do I write without having to commit. Perfectly okay. I understand. Sometimes it's hard, but check out Bloodline. It's a little darker than what I write. Still super fun, super quirky characters, a lot of action, and it'll give you a little introduction of kind of like the Reaper's world. So check it out, subscribe, follow me, say hi, tell me what you want, let me know how you're doing. For everybody who's been on TikTok, guess what? Books have been put in the mail, so I'm doing a happy dance. So we're going to go from there. In the meantime, let me know how everybody is doing. I'm kind of curious. So today, because I am officially super, super hot, we're going to do passion fruit. Nothing exciting. Last time I did passion fruit and vodka. It's a confession for the day. Probably more vodka than passion fruit. Did not realize that was possible. It is possible. So we're going to go safe and just do passion fruit. So, Salted Peacock is joining us on TikTok. Hello there. How you doing, sweetie? Haven't seen you in forever, so hopefully you're enjoying yourself and staying hydrated. Anybody else joining us? Remember, I'm going to jump in here, filling you in and giving you some behind the scenes, so hopefully you guys are ready. I'm addicted to passion fruit, so I think it's a Dominican thing. I grew up drinking passion fruit, so let's go. I'm thinking we're going to do chapter 1. What do you guys think? So we're doing, see if I can get this right, Forbidden War, which is book 3 in the Intern Diaries series. We're going to go a quick reading from this. I got Michelle. Hello, sweetie. How are you? I'm so excited. Let me know how you guys are doing. I usually let everybody know you can do book 1, 2, and probably 3 and jump in the series without having to actually read them in order. Book 4, you really should commit to kind of the other 3 because it gets a little bit more intense. And book 5, which is Judgment Day, which is the end of the series. If you definitely can read out of order, go for it. If not, pick it up. So Des Interns book 1. We're going to get started. Some of my favorite characters are here, so we're going to kick in. I will stop in between, take a break. Guys, grab a drink. Cheers, salut, happy Friday. Let's get started. And if you have questions or concerns or if you have read this series, let me know. Ooh, Mariko's joining us. Hello, sweetie. So yeah, put some comments in here. Let's see what we do. We're going to start with chapter 1. And this is Forbidden War. Eugene, you really know how to show a girl a good time, I told Eugene as I follow him down the old path. By the way, quick input. This is Salty Pika says this is a hot cover. Absolutely. So Michelle kisses to Miracle. Michelle says, I'm good snuggling with the fur babies. I understand. Mine is keeping an eye on me from the corner to make sure I don't mess this up. So urban fantasy, first person from the perspective of Isis Black. Isis has been on the job for over a year. She happens to be desk intern North America. And this is where we're at. Just a little bit, at least that part, so you guys can kind of know where we're going. So let's do this. Eugene, you really know how to show a girl a good time, I told him as I follow him down the old path. Oh, come on, Isis. What better way to spend a Saturday night than collecting specimens? I was sure Eugene was trying to be charming, but considering we were crawling around a cemetery at night in the middle of Texarkana, his charms weren't working on him. Do you know how suspicious we look wandering around here 4 days before Halloween? I asked him softly as I look around the place. Isis, this part of town is deserted on the weekends. Besides, of all the people, you should be used to cemeteries. Eugene told me without looking my way. Remember, you work for death. Eugene, I see dead people. That doesn't mean I hang out in cemeteries during my free time. I said. Eugene was right about one thing. I did work for death. I was desk intern North America. Normally, that statement made most people panic. We terrified the poor souls who knew about us. We did have a terrible reputation, after all, especially me. Desk intern had a reputation for being a menace to society. For anybody who's been reading this, you guys all familiar, they are definitely a menace to society. It's not even an understatement. Michelle says Eugene is awesome. Eugene happens to be pestilence intern, so he's a little bit on the inside of the madness. Honestly, it wasn't our fault. For some strange reason, trouble had a way of finding us. For those who were blessed with not knowing about the supernatural, it was a blessing. They still believed death came to take their lives, and that just wasn't the way it worked. The truth was completely different than what most people believe. Death was in the business of the poor souls to their final destination. We call this the soul business for everyone. So here we go. Depending on the individual's beliefs of the afterlife, death will deliver them. In other words, death was a UPS for the soul world. Anything that interfered with the delivery of the soul was an intern's job, that would be Isis, to find it and fix it. Death was unique, appearing to each person according to their own beliefs. For some people, death appeared in the shape of a monster or their worst nightmares. Others saw death as a long-lost friend or a relative who came to guide them to the next journey. For me, death was always a tall, beautiful lady with long silky brown hair who dressed impeccable. She often resembled my dead mother. So remember, this is very much a different take on what everybody's religious and mythologies believe in death. So you get to see death how you wish to be. And death is there to accompany. Death takes a job of the souls extremely serious. Hence the reason death has interns all over the world. Isis happens to be in North America. I always wonder which one I resemble the most, my mother or my dad. I was 5 feet 9 inches with long black hair and a mauve complexion. In the Twin Cities of Texarkana, I was considered exotic to the point of attractive. Unfortunately, my parents had named me Isis Black. In the age of terrorism, my name was a constant topic of painful discussions and explanation. I wasn't sure why. I didn't consider it a nickname. It wasn't like people ever remembered the Egyptian goddess when the name Isis was brought up. Isis! I heard Eugene say my name and didn't know how, but he whispered and yelled at the same time. Are you listening to me? Oops. I guess I turned him out for a while. Sorry, I was thinking, I said, looking around the area. We were at the Sacred Heart Cemetery, located on Texas Boulevard across from the T-Line station, and I still didn't understand why. Tell me again, why are we roaming around this cemetery at night? So, quick note for everybody, because everybody asks, is this cemetery real? Yes, this is definitely a real cemetery. There is a cemetery across on Texas Boulevard. Had a long discussion with my friend who honestly said, you know, I never noticed that cemetery until I read your book. So there is definitely a cemetery there. It is really has really amazing, like, stones and everything else, but it's really small. Hi, Miss Mary. We're having a whole of a crowd. How are you? Welcome, welcome. We're doing chapter 1 and Forbidden War, so we're going to, I'm honestly on page 2, so let's continue. If you guys have questions so far, let me know. I'll be stopping to check. You guys can kind of go from there. So let's see. Easy, because we will probably get arrested for poking around the cemetery during the day, Eugene told me, planting his feet in a Y stand as he folded his arms over his chest. A smirk lifted the corners of his mouth. Thanks, Mr. Smarty Pants. Now, think you can explain the cemetery part? I replied as I waved my arms around to emphasize the setting. Oh, hello. I'm looking around and trying to read at the same time, so you can tell. Failing miserably. So hello, Mr. Mark. Glad you're watching too. So make sure you keep popping in. I'll keep looking around. It'll be really, really fun. And they're still in the cemetery, still ISIS. By the way, this is what friends are for. So I want my friends, when I say, hey, we need to go scout the cemetery, to say, sure, why not? And not ask questions. So you can tell it's still burning in Texas. I'm burning to death. So Isis is the friend that when her guys and girls says, we need to go on this mission, she goes, okay, and then ask questions later. Like, why is she in the cemetery? She still doesn't know. But she's there. She's there to support Eugene and his master plan. You have a lot of questions today, Eugene told me with a frown. Yes, I do. But normally you aren't this shady with your information. Stop changing the subject and spill it. Or I'm not moving. I put my hands on my hips and stopped walking. Eugene wouldn't meet my eyes. Instead, his gaze drifted everywhere but me. I had to admit, he looked extremely cute when he was nervous. He was a very attractive black man in his early 20s. He looked like a young Will Smith. I'm talking Will Smith. Well, I'm talking about the Will Smith from Independence Day. So yeah, put it back in time, way back. Stop pressuring me, Isis. I'm not supposed to talk about it. I raised an eyebrow. If Eugene was keeping secrets, it could only be for one person. The mistress said this was a classified mission. Eugene confessed in a whisper. I knew it. The only one Eugene was loyal to was his horseman, Pestilence. While I was Death's intern, Eugene was the rookie intern for Pestilence. Pestilence was also Death's sister, and one nasty lady. The sisters were polar opposites. While Death was warm and motherly, Pestilence was queen bee. Pestilence even made her 10 interns call her mistress. She didn't bother learning their names. They all went by numbers, which was completely insane. The poor guys working and lived underground in the state-of-the-art lab. It was a good thing they were chemists and enjoyed the living conditions, because it would have terrified me to death. They also lived underneath the chicken plant. So this is one of the ongoing jokes of this group, is like, why does Pestilence have a chicken plant? Nobody knows. Constantine, the 5,000-year-old talking cat that served as a guardian and trainer for all of Death's interns, explained how all the horsemen had interns. We all had different purposes and modes of operations. Normally, interns did not interact with each other. According to Constantine, that piece of information and so much more could be found in my intern manual. Who read manuals anyways? I was pretty sure my manual was MIA, missing in action, and not coming back. To Constantine's pain, I never read it. It wasn't on purpose. It just didn't look that important. And since it was so tiny. Eugene, talk. We don't need another zombie apocalypse, I told him sternly. That was how we first met, trying to stop a zombie apocalypse that Pestilence, poor hiring practice, instigated. Afterwards, Death convinced her sister to keep the partnership, and now we get to spend every weekend with Eugene. Fine. Just don't tell Constantine. Eugene looked around like he was expecting Pestilence to appear. He cleared his throat before continuing. I'm supposed to bring back. These little white flowers are only grown by gnomes. Pestilence is researching a new strain of the whooping cough. What gnomes? So, checking in. So Mary says, I stopped by the cemetery on State Line a few weeks ago. It was peaceful. I actually like walking around cemeteries during the day, not at night. I'm all about nature, so I'm originally from Salem, so I love cemeteries, checking them out. I'm a day kind of cemetery visitor. Definitely, Miss Mary, not at all at night, so this mission for ISIS would not be my thing. Jordani says, good dear job. Hello. Wish to meet you. Love to see you too as well, honey. So good. Hello. So let's see where we're at. So we're going to have some huge revelations for everybody who's been following this series. So this is poor Isis's moment of going, what is happening? What gnomes? I asked as my gaze roamed the area. What was he talking about? Seriously, Isis. That's what you're concerned about? Eugene pressed his lips together. Your entire team is in the business of killing humanity, I told Eugene. Why should I be shocked that you're developing a new strain of some deadly virus? That is a standard procedure for you. But the gnome thing? That's new. You got a point there, he agreed. According to the mistress, now that Texarkana is a haven, gnomes will be moving in everywhere. Eugene looked at me like that made any sense. Okay, Einstein, slow it down. What's a haven? I sucked today. I could barely follow his conversation, and I definitely wasn't understanding it. You really need to read your manual, Eugene told me as he crossed his arm. Don't you start with that. I replied in a formed tone. I knew the only reason he read his manual was because Pestilence had a mandatory test on it. I prayed Constantine never asked about that. Just tell me, please. I really don't want to ask Constantine. And I didn't. He was known for instilling fear in the hearts of everyone. That would be a painful lecture. Eugene gave me a soft look. Havens are a sanctuary for the supernatural communities. They are places where every creature is protected and treated fairly. In North America, Texarkana, both the Texas and the Arkansas side, and even a few of the surrounding communities, are the New Haven. Why? Of all the places to have a sanctuary, why here? I wanted to know who made that decision. Why wouldn't they pick San Diego or Cancun, since those are tropical areas, large cities, and have a lot more to offer? It made no sense. I don't know. Why did you pick Texarkana to move to? Eugene asked me. What does one thing have to do with the other? I wasn't in the mood for reminiscing on how I landed in Texarkana running away from my past. The funny thing was, my past came knocking on my door anyways, only in the shape of death. Everything. Eugene rubbed at his sleeve. Havens are the territory of death. The locations are based on the places where the interns live, which means, Isis, you are the new sheriff in town. Sheriff? I yelled and the sound echoed through the cemetery. I couldn't help it. I did not like the sound of that. Unfortunately, you're responsible for keeping everyone safe and enforcing the law. Eugene looked at the ground when he spoke. The good news is, everyone knows the reputations of the sheriff, so everyone behaves. I knew he was trying to make me feel better, but it wasn't working. Eugene, what are the punishments for crimes committed in Haven? I asked as a sick feeling tossed back and forth in my stomach. The usual, I guess, he shrugged. Banishments, beatings, even death to all violators. Great. I mumbled, my shoulders slumping and my whole face falling. I didn't have the stomach to kill anyone. I'm not sure why we have intern rules if I have to violate them to do the job. As desk intern, we have 5 rules. Simple to follow, supposedly according to them. Luckily, I could recite the rules in my head. 1, you couldn't tell anyone you worked for death. 2, you couldn't kill anyone unless it was in self-defense. 3, you couldn't contact death unless you were actually dying. 4, being desk intern was your primary job, and other jobs could not interfere with it. And 5, any romantic relationship couldn't get in the way of the job. Eugene, why is this happening now? I've been an intern for over a year, I asked him, hoping it had been a mistake. Something happened. What I gathered from 5th, because of the short life of desk intern, havens can only be established after your 1-year anniversary. Eugene explained. So congratulations, you made it to haven status. Eugene gave me 2 thumbs ups when he finished. I blinked at him, not nearly as excited as he was. Thanks. We can celebrate later. For now, let's get out of here. I had enough information overload and needed time to process. Great. Look for a small white flower. They grow near the headstones, Eugene said as he leaned down, almost crawling over the tombs. As I watched Eugene, something caught my eye. I glanced to the left. Sure, I seen something moving, but there was nothing there. Maybe it was just a branch from the big tree in the back. But then, the whole tree moved, and I knew I hadn't been imagining. Oh God, Eugene, the trees are moving. I tried to whisper, but it came as a squeal. What? Eugene turned around to stare at me. Trees? Moving? What are you talking about? He asked, the words rushing out of his mouth in confusion. I pointed to the direction of the 9-foot-tall tree coming at us. Isis? That's not a tree, Eugene said. His voice was higher than normal. That's a troll, and he's coming for us. Run! Eugene took off, grabbing my hand and dragging me along. Eugene, let go of my hand. We need to split up. I had never seen a troll before, but I knew survival tactics. He couldn't chase us both. That would give us a chance to knock him out. After several instances of people trying to beat me up, I was a bit paranoid. By the way, everybody tries to beat her up, and they do a really good job, unfortunately. Our child just happens to get beat up a lot. So she's very confident in the fact that she doesn't want to do this again. So just remember that. So here we go. After several instances of people trying to beat me up, I was a bit paranoid. I never left the house without taking certain precautions. Thanks to Eugene, I now carry a paintball gun. The paintballs were filled with the formula Eugene had created. They knock people out without killing them. Unless you have a 50-pound barrel, you don't have enough. I looked over my shoulder and realized Eugene was right. That thing was huge. Whatever, we're trying this. You go left, I'll head right. I told Eugene as I pulled away. He didn't look happy. But he moved with a purpose. Eugene looked like one of those people you see at a mall power walking. I, on the other hand, took off at full sprint. At the beginning, I was doing great, weaving through the tombs and moving quickly until I heard Eugene scream. I looked back and somehow managed to slip on some grass, landing flat on my butt. I didn't have time to nurse my pride, not when I started into the eyes of two strange creatures, a male and a female. They looked like 10-inch dolls that were mixed with flowers. They had petals coming out of their heads like little hats and branches sticking out of their bodies in different places. What are you? I asked the two little creatures as I reached to touch them. They looked so cute and delicate. Oh no, she can see us. Get Godzilla to squeeze her, the male said. I need to ask Constantine if our insurance covers being squished by a troll. I giggled like a little girl. Surely, I must have a concussion if I was giggling. She said, Constantine, the female said as she sprayed me with sparkling dust. We killed the intern. We're dead. It might be a different Constantine, the male told her. Do you know another 5-dozen-year-old talking cat? I asked them as my head started spinning. Oh, we're so dead, the female repeated. Nobody's going to die, I said, trying to get up, but failing. What are you guys? Yes, sorry, the female said as the little couple tried to help me stand up. They had worse luck than I did. I'm Trish, and this is Trey. We're the new gnomes in town. Hi, nice to meet you, I said when I managed to sit up. Why do I feel this way? I asked the little gnomes. Sorry about that. Trey's voice shook when he spoke. It's you know. He couldn't finish the sentence. I have no clue, but I'm probably too stoned to get it. After several visits to the hospital and the army, I knew what narcotics felt like. Whatever this was, it was out of this world. Is that tree tall thing with you? I asked the little cute couple, pointing towards the troll. They glanced in the direction I pointed. He's our security guy, Trish said softly. I almost missed it. Great. Could you call him off before he kills my friend? I couldn't turn my head without feeling nauseous. Of course. Trish let out a loud whistle. I couldn't focus very well, but I did see the troll retreating. Please don't tell Constantine. I giggled. That cat had everyone terrorized. Not a problem. He'll be fine. They both took a few deep breaths. Could you do us a favor, please? I asked, giggling again. Sure thing, Trish said, but Trey was biting his lips and looking around the place. Could you get some of your little white flowers? I asked the gnomes, and they looked at each other, then raised their lifty eyebrows. My friend works for Pestilence, and he needs to bring some back. That crazy witch is back to her old tricks, Trish said, shaking her head. Sure, but only this time. This stuff is dangerous. Thank you so much. You two are so cute, I said as I leaned my head against the headstones near me. The world started spinning around me. She's so cute and so polite. I hope she lasts. I heard Trish talking, but could hardly focus. As soon as my eyes closed, everything went dark. So there's a page break. We're still in the cemetery, And poor Eugene is trying to figure it out. Did we kill Isis? So, because he still has to bring her back, let's be honest. I don't think Constantine is very happy if he decided to kill the poor child. So let's see what we have. Isis, Isis, wake up. Eugene screamed in my ears as he nearly shook me to death. I'm awake, I'm awake. Stop that. I mumbled to Eugene. My head was still spinning, but not as much. Still, I just wanted to sleep, but I forced my eyes open slowly. I hope I wasn't drooling. Oh, thank God. You scared me to death. Eugene hugged me so tight I couldn't breathe. Sorry, just don't strangle me now, I said, and Eugene released his tight hold. We need to get you out of here now, said Eugene, pulling me up. Don't forget your flowers. The gnomes left them for you, I told him, still giddy. Great. That was all he had to say as he struggled to pick up the flowers and keep me up. You need fresh air and a slushie. I smiled happily at Eugene as he let us out. I love slushies. All right, my friends, this is chapter 1 of Forbidden War, which is book 3 in the Intern Diaries series. Super, super fun. And this is the point in the story where Isis realizes that her job just got a tad bit more complicated. So book 1, you get to meet Isis and how she moves to Texarkana. It's just trying to figure it out. And that knock on her door that changes her life, and she meets death. Book 2, we get to meet Pestilence. And Pestilence is, as I try to tell everybody, deliciously evil. There's nothing you can do about it. This woman, or horseman, it's as bad as she can get. And Isis is right. Pestilence, bad hiring practice are the things that causes the zombie apocalypse. I won't give you any more of that without giving it away. So you get zombies running in Texarkana. So book 3, it's all about war. So I'm going to read you actually the introduction to war. Now, next week, I will be out of town. I am heading, believe it or not, happy dance. We're heading to New Orleans, and hopefully I don't melt to death because it's definitely hot down in the Big Easy. Have training going on, so I'm kind of excited. So it's going to be super fun. But when I get back, we're going to do chapter 3, which is where everybody gets to meet war. So this is an introduction of war. Probably, I'm trying to think. I'll give you a little bit of background. So when I wrote this book, this has one of my favorite fighting scenes ever. And it became really hard because I knew that Judgment Day was supposed to be even better. Supposed to have the end of the world, supposed to be this huge apocalypse. How do we have the all the horsemen and everything coming together? And at the end of war, I was like, oh my God, how am I going to top that? What in God's name am I going to do to blow up everything after Forbidden War? So I'm kind of really happy that everything worked out well. And Judgment Day does not disappoint. Honey read the book and was pretty impressed. It is definitely a roller coaster. So if you like action and enjoy wild ride, Judgment Day is the things. We got kidnappings, we got vampires, you got elves, you got, you name it, you have it. And for everybody, so you get to introduce in this book, you meet Katrina, who's probably one of my favorite interns. Badass girl with an attitude, so super, super fun. So all the interns come back, all the enemies come back, the boatman comes back. So a little tip for everybody who met them. So it's super, super exciting. This one, kind of as I got to write it, it's a little, how do I put this? It's a little bit of Romeo and Juliet, a little stretch in there. So it's a star-crossed lover between the elf princess, and a vampire prince. And kind of their story and their background, and the princess is missing. And like everything else, War is busy and pretty much wants Death to figure it out. Death's not that excited to figure it out, but gets kind of conned by the brother. So she agrees to send Isis. Isis is now in charge of this, managing this, peace treaty between the two while she's trying to figure out where's the princess and why nobody's looking for it. So her and Katrina get on this wild ride. One of my favorite scenes, and probably the hardest one to write, was actually having to send Isis to hell. So it completely was super, super crazy. Because as I'm writing, I write in the middle of the night. For some reason, I'm a morning person, but I'm writing at night. And I literally am doing prayers, and I'm like, Lord, please don't have these creatures come into my house, and I don't want to go to hell. So please, please, whatever you do. So the hell should give you guys, if you guys get to read it, it's super fun. And it has a little twist of what I think hell kind of looks like. I think it's kind of fun. And then Judgment Day, we kind of go back, so it's kind of fun. So comments, Michelle says, when they told Isis she was the new sheriff, I mentally heard the music for the Noon Showdown from the old Western. Yes. Isis has probably one of those characters that you just love. She is sarcastic enough to be fun. She has all this attitude going. And at the same time, she's like, how do I get stuck with this? And I realized as I wrote in the middle of the series that Isis is like the one girl hanging out with other guys. Thank God for Katrina. But other than that, she's just kind of like the straight men in this series because everybody is over the top. If you get to meet Shorty, Shorty's nuts. Everybody's there. So Isis tends to be like, why me? This is also the book where Isis really needs a vacation. Probably feminine Isis really needs a vacation as she realized that now she's supposed to be the sheriff in town and she just doesn't want to do it. She's like, how do I get stuck in it? Jamie says, love it. It's so much fun. Just realize you like quirky characters, lots of actions. It's urban fantasy too, the best. So much fun. So my dear friends, I'm going to be bouncing out Friday night. I'm going to salute you all. Cheers. Passion fruit for the day. Keep hydrated. It is super hot here. Grab some juice, grab something cool, drink some water, stay hydrated, my friends. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Give you guys an amazing update of all the fun stuff. I'm definitely going to showcase my little friends again. Thank you to the fabulous Chris Finner for hooking me up. See no evil, do no evil. See no evil, say no evil, hear no evil. And if you guys are interested for some fun, check it out. I am definitely going to be crashing because I still have books to pack. I'm mailing books away, so it'll be amazing. My dear friends, have an amazing evening. If you're interested in checking out the stories, remember, check out my website, dcgoldman-author.com. Pick up a free one right there. Have some fun. And I'll be back in 2 weeks. In the meantime, stay safe, my friends. I love you all. Be careful. Bye.